Dandelion is a plant that needs very little introduction because it grows in virtually every climate. It can be found all over the world. It grows at sea level to right up above the alpine tree line. And pretty much everybody remembers, you know, when they were little kids, they used to pick mature dandelion flowers and blow them so that the seeds would get carried away on the wind. But much less widely understood are the myriad health benefits that all parts of this plant can offer to us. The botanical name for dandelion is Taraxacum officinale. Now, Taraxacum comes from a combination of the Greek words taraxos and akos. Now, taraxos means illness or disorder, and akos means remedy. So, Taraxacum officinale means the official remedy for many disorders. Now, the common name dandelion actually comes from the French name dandelion, which means the lion's tooth. And this refers to the very deeply serrated leaves of this plant. Now, another common name is pissenlit, which means piss the bed. But don't worry, taking dandelion isn't just going to turn you into an overnight bedwetter. It simply refers to the very pronounced diuretic action of dandelion. Now, dandelion's a rich source of a lot of important nutrients. It's very high in beta-carotenes, it's rich in vitamin C, B complex, it's got B1, B2, B3 and B4. Now, B4 is choline, and this is partly why dandelion is so good for liver health, because choline helps to metabolize fats, it can reduce liver congestion and really optimize overall liver function. Now, it's also a very rich source of potassium, iron, magnesium, sulfur, silica and manganese, and medicinally potent compounds like taraxacin, which stimulates the production and secretion of bile. So this is another reason why it's so good for liver and gallbladder health. Plant constituents like taraxacin and other unique triterpenes like taraxol are very, very bitter, so they really stimulate the digestive fluids. So that's going to be like salivary enzymes in the mouth and hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And so eating, say, like dandelion leaves prior to eating a main meal, it can really reduce the overall energy spent on the entire digestive process. And because dandelion is a perennial herb, it's normally better to pick the bigger, darker leaves because they're likely to have more nutritional value. The leaves are also a galactagogue, which means that they stimulate the production and flow of breast milk in lactating mothers. And they're also very good at purifying the blood and the lymph and enhancing the detox capacity of the liver and the kidneys. And they have analgesic properties for pain relief as well. Just like the leaves, the flowers can also be eaten fresh or cooked, or they can be used externally. And they're often used as a beauty tonic because it's said that they can make the soft tissues of the body more plump and pliable. And I think we can also understand this by the flower's ability to enhance liver function and support the liver overall, because through doing this, they can reduce constitutional heat and the associated emotions of anger and frustration, which I think we can all agree generally tend to create ugliness rather than beauty. Now, dandelion has a lot of sap, and it can be found in the greatest abundance in the roots, but you can also find it in the leaves and in the stems as well. If you basically break the stems open, they're going to bleed this white milky sap for you, just like that one there. Now, this is really excellent for healing wounds. Any kind of skin abrasions, bee stings, any kind of dermatitis, this sap is a really good medicine for this kind of stuff. Now, as you may have already guessed, all parts of this plant have very powerful hepatic or liver protective properties, but they are most concentrated in the root. Now, the root can be eaten as very nutritive food, so you can like get it fresh and cook it, or you can dry it and make an infusion or a tea with it, or you can make a tincture with it. The root promotes the flow of bile from the gallbladder, and it can actually help to dissolve gallstones. Now, it stimulates digestion and is actually very good at removing unwanted debris throughout the colon. So in general, it's a very good overall tonic for the entire digestive tract from one end to the other. The roots are a very rich source of inulin, which is an oligosaccharide sugar that's an excellent prebiotic food for the beneficial microflora that live within our intestines. So this means better digestion, better immune function, and better mental health. Who doesn't need that? So it strengthens our gut flora. It's actually a mild laxative and an excellent diuretic that helps us to drain off water retention, and because it's so rich in potassium and other important trace minerals, it replenishes the loss of all these nutrients that increased urination would normally cause. So it actually completely avoids all of the very common nutrient deficiencies that are associated with like over-the-counter diuretics. So, you know, that's pretty cool. The roots are really good for supporting deep or long-term detoxification, you know, when you need to get rid of a load of crap out of your body. Like maybe you've been taking loads of drugs, like recreational drugs, maybe you've been drinking way too much and you want to clean yourself up and get healthy. Maybe you've had to take a load of pharmaceutical drugs, you know. Maybe you had surgery and you had to have a general anesthetic or something like that. So the roots are really good for helping to cleanse all of that shit out of your body. The root has antibacterial and antiviral properties, and interestingly, it's a mild sedative as well. But this kind of makes sense really, because the root is the part of the plant that's growing in the ground, it's in the earth. So it's very dense, it's very earthy, it's got a very heavy nature to it. So when we take it, it's actually very grounding and very soothing and very nourishing. So this can be a really great medicine for people that have a very nervous or anxious disposition, or people, you know, that maybe have hyperactive behavioral tendencies. Dandelion roots, leaves, and flowers can all be bought organically, but, you know, to be honest, when it grows so readily in the surrounding ecosystem, it seems pretty silly to not go out looking for it and pick it in the wild. Plus, you know, it gets us out, it gets us away from the screen, it gets us away from our phones, hopefully, and we get to connect with our natural surrounding environment more, which is something that people are doing less and less nowadays. So really, there's so much medicine to receive just through the simple act of going outside in nature and just looking for dandelion. Something to be very careful of, and I mean very careful, is the unfortunate but very commonly held belief that dandelion is just an irritating weed that ruins lawns and ruins your local park, and it must be eliminated at all costs. And the reason why we need to be very careful of this mindset is because this has made dandelion one of the biggest causes of global herbicide use every year. Millions of pounds of herbicides like this bullshit get set loose on natural ecosystems because of plants like dandelion. I mean, this is seriously the worst thing you could be using in your garden. It's a complete violation of nature's rhythms and cycles, and all it really achieves is just poisoning innumerable wildlife species, natural waterways, and causing a spectrum of different diseases in people as well. So this is why you need to be really, really careful when you're picking dandelion from the wild. So don't take risks, right? Just pick it only from places that you're confident are not contaminated. I mean, this really is human stupidity in full effect, you know, to actually believe that your garden or your local park or whatever is completely separate from and not connected to the larger surrounding ecosystem. Dandelion is also a major source of interest to bees, so when we poison that plant, we're inadvertently poisoning the bees, we're negatively impacting their habitat and their ability to pollinate. So the moral of the story is what many people call weeds are actually plants with the strongest and most adaptable genetics, which invariably makes the best medicine.